Hiya, and welcome back to Homecoming Morenatsu Revisited. The game that teaches us that... That we should probably check on Juuichi. I mean, this is his route. Anyways, let's just hop right in. I breathe a heavy sigh as I stare down at my book. Glancing slightly to the right, I can see the incomplete list of chores. Since returning home, the rains seem to build up, meaning they have largely gone undone. That only makes me feel even more guilty, especially since I offered to do them. Grandma just smiled when I told her, "It's quite alright, dear. This rain did come in rather quickly." Rubbing a hand against my neck, I return my attention to my book. Better spend this time wisely. I've been falling a bit behind with my English comprehension. Ugh, usually the words go into my head pretty easily, but I seem to be having a hard time concentrating today. Okay, so that is a relative pronoun, so the following English sentence should be read as one large part. Come to think of it, my teacher would say one large part like it was nothing, but it feels wrong when I try to say it. I just need to think long and hard about it. Long, large, long, hard... Juuichi, wait, what? The words make me giggle like a child. My face warms up instantly as memories of my dream force their way back into my mind. No, no! Concentrate, Hiroyuki! Concentrate! Shaking my head, I return to the textbook. I flip through my dictionary and run my finger over the relevant section. Huh. As soon as possible. This can also be abbreviated as ASAP? Ugh, people in English-speaking countries just abbreviate whatever they want, huh? Yeah. It sounds like an acronym for a special forces group. We need the ASAP as soon as possible. Damn it, I got distracted again. It's so humid today as well. I can't open my window because of the rain, nor can I turn on the... Aha! A wide grin crosses my face as the idea comes to my mind. Minasato still has a library. Last I remember, it was a cool, quiet, air-conditioned place. With the giggle, I gather all of my study materials and stuff them into a backpack. As I cast a triumphant smirk over at the fan, another idea springs to mind. Grandma and Grandpa haven't needed to, but I can take it to get it fixed. Good thinking, Nishimura. I lift up the fan and wrap the cord around the base. My backpack has just enough room to hold it. Still, it would be best to keep it covered on the walk over to the repair shop. Staring down at the lone piece of paper sitting on the floor beside my futon, I finally pick it up and put it into my pocket. Better not leave this behind. Walking into the living room, I approach my grandmother. "Hey, Grandma, I'm going to the library to study for a little. When the weather clears up a bit, I'll definitely finish the chores for you." She looks at me and smiles, her tail swishing behind her. "Okay, dear. Just don't go out with an umbrella this time." I chuckle and scratch the side of my face. "I won't." Oh, I'm also going to take the old fan to the repair shop to see if they can fix it. "It's a wonderful idea. Thank you, Hiroyuki." With a wide grin, I bow before rushing to the door. Slipping on my shoes, I grab an umbrella and head out into the rain. Is this a scene that I love? Is this a scene that I absolutely fucking love? Through the rainy haze, I finally see a familiar rooftop in the distance. I pat my backpack as I prepare to walk through the doorway. Hello? A small head pops up from behind the counter. "Welcome! Yukiharu, it's good to see you again." "Mr. Hiroyuki!" Upon recognizing me, Yukiharu gives a wide smile. "Thanks for your help yesterday, it was lots of fun. Hope we can make another sandcastle soon." I nod and give the little tanuki a wide grin, which he returns with a thumbs up. "Did I ever tell you how much you look like your brother when he was younger?" "That's what Mr. Totsuki says all the time." I guess Totsuki's the kind to bring that up too. Yukiharu looks distressed when two voices start yelling at each other down the hall. Listening closely, I remember them belonging to Konosuke's parents. "I don't care! You're always doing this, Hyosuke! Haru, please, just listen to me for a moment." Sorry, Mr. Hiroyuki. You've been fighting a lot lately." He looks to the ground as he runs to grab a broom from the corner. Is Konosuke home, Yuki? He stops cold when I mention his brother's name. No. The voices down the hall grew louder again. He snuck out of the house again! That little thing he does locking the door doesn't fool me. I told him he needs to watch the shop today. We can't keep letting him do this. You're overreacting, honey. Come on, he's just a teenager right now. It's what teens do. I see. They're arguing about Konosuke. I don't know where he goes during the day. Still staring at the floor, he sighs and mumbles softly. He's always leaving me alone with them. Jeez. Poor Yukiharu. What's Konosuke up to that's so important? He needs to learn responsibility. He's almost an adult, and yet he still acts this way. He'll be fine. He's gonna grow out of it. I did, didn't I? He's just like you. Suddenly, footsteps start clanging down the hall. An older Tanuki woman emerges around the corner. Hi, Mom. Yuki, dear? Would you like to join Mommy while she does errands in Kazanari? Oh, okay. He looks up at me as if to mutter an apology. Noticing this, Mrs. Curry glances in my direction. Here, Yuki. I didn't hear you come in. I heard you came back for the summer. She sighs while straightening out her apron. If you're looking for Konosuke, he's not here. That's okay, I'm here too. Practically ignoring me, she grabs her son's hand and leads him to the front door. Bye, Mr. Hiroyuki. Damn! The two of them disappear behind a wall. Before long, I can hear a car engine turn on. Ugh, this is such an awkward feeling. I'm pretty sure I heard some things I'd rather not hear. Turn around when I hear another set of footsteps coming from the hall. A chubby, round Tanuki face wearing a baseball cap peers around the corner. Mr. Kuri's probably checking to see if his wife left. Oh! No apologies, I didn't realize someone was here. With one hand behind his head, he emerges from the hall and walks behind the counter. Welcome to... Taking another look at me, finally recognizes who I am. Hiroyuki Nishimura! Is that really you? Hello, Mr. Kuri. I politely bow and walk up to the counter. It's good to see you again, son. How long has it been? About 5 years, sir. Konosuke said you were in town, but man, I can hardly believe my eyes. He gives me a big smile as he puffs out his chest with his hands on his hips. So how's all Osaka treating you? I hate that question. It's going well, I guess. I've been down there a few times to pick up parts. It's quite the city, isn't it? If you say so. Osaka may be where I live now, but I can hardly call it home. What brings you back to Minasato? I decided to visit for the month. I wanted to see all my old friends again. Before you graduate, huh? He looks at me with concern in his eyes. I know the feeling. I remember when I first moved out here with my parents. It was so hard to say goodbye to all the friends I made. I ended up doing the same thing you are in my last year of high school. Really? I don't think I've heard this story before. He scratches underneath his chin. Yeah, that's when I first fell in love with my wife. There's something magical about that kind of trip, you know? Huh? Okay, I want to add to that, Amethyst. He looks like he's either an abusive alcoholic or one of the funnest parents you'll ever meet. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. And I'm leaning more towards one of the most fun parents you'll ever meet. I don't know why. Is it because he's wearing a tank top? No, it's not because he's wearing a wife beater. No, it's not because he's wearing a wife beater. I'd say it's more just his general look. Just his general look. Let me explain. Like, he looks like if he were in the United States, he would be the fun dad in a small Midwestern town who somehow always manages to get the illegal fireworks. Fucker goes to wherever to get them. And just lets his son set them off. End result, his son's a pyromaniac. I didn't say no, wait. Yeah, I did say funnest, not funniest. He stares off in the distance, clearly losing himself in his memories. He also looks like the dad lore is insane. Oh, sorry about that. Shaking his head, his attention returns to me. No, I shouldn't be taking so much of your time like this. Are you looking for Konosuke? Actually, sir, I was wondering if you could fix something for me. Take off my backpack and place it on the counter. My fan's been broken since I arrived. I got it working briefly yesterday, but a broken fan is a terrible thing in the middle of summer. He winks at me as he lifts the fan out of my backpack. I'll have it ready for you by this evening, free of charge. But no, I couldn't. Nonsense, it'd only take a couple tweaks here and there, nothing that should cost money. Besides, what kind of father would I be charging a friend of his sons like that? Thanks, Mr. Kuri. He moves the fan onto a shelf behind him, then turns back and leans on the counter. I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't help but overhear your argument earlier. Look of shock crosses Mr. Kuri's face. What? He covers his face with his hand, then shakes his head. We've been having trouble with Konosuke lately. I'll admit, I wanted to see if he was home too. My wife checked his room earlier, I guess he snuck out. He shrugs. I've been trying to figure out what he's up to, but so far I've got nothing. You've been hanging out together, right? Do you know anything? Sorry, I'm just as confused as you are. He grows quiet as he looks down at the floor. An idea seems to pop into his head. He closes his eyes and gives me a thumbs up. Hiroyuki, can I ask you a big favor? I know that look. It's the same one Konosuke gets when he's up to something mischievous. I've never really been comfortable snooping around in my son's room. But you two are best friends, aren't you? There's no way he'd ever hate you for that. Could you take a look around Konosuke's room for me? Wow. He's right. That is a big favor he's asking. Mr. Kuri. He holds both his hands together and slightly bows his head. Please? Why does this feel familiar? At that exact moment, I hear the front door slide open behind me. An older-looking husky walks into the shop. Never saw much, but I'm pretty sure that's Kuya's dad. Is this a bad time, Hyosuke? Mr. Kuri breaks out of his pleading stance in a hurry and tries to regain composure. Mitsuhisa, what a surprise! He walks up to the counter and gives me a sidelong glance. He places a large guitar-shaped container in front of us. I need to have this repaired. Of course, no problem. Just give me one moment, please. Mr. Kuri walks into the hall and waits for me to follow him. Once again, he bows his head and starts begging. Please, Hiroyuki, you gotta help me out here! I'm desperate! Okay, he is absolutely not an alcoholic. He is absolutely not an alcoholic. That... First off, he respects his son's privacy. You gotta give props where props due. You gotta give credit where credit's due. I'm desperate. I have no idea what's wrong with my son. It's starting to scare me. Worried parent. His voice quivers a bit at the end. You're asking for a major violation of trust, Mr. Kuri. He is hot. I will give him that. He is hot. The things I do to him. He needs us to snoop around Konosuke's room. He needs us to violate Konosuke's privacy. That is a... On one hand, it's his house. But on the other hand, it's Konosuke. Okay, hang on. Because everything's mixed, Girl, get in line! Wait, what? I'm gonna make a poll. be a decent human person, or... I am convinced that Hyosuke is a loving father. He just seems like the type to love doting on his wife and children. Like, sure, his wife and him have been arguing for, I'm assuming, a while now, but... Oh, we'll skip Juuichi's part. Well then, never mind the poll. Okay, then never mind the poll. The more I think about it, the more I think it's a bad idea. Rubbing the back of my head, I glance up at him apologetically. I'm sorry, Mr. Kuri, but I can't. It just wouldn't be right. The older Tanuki gives a soft sigh and shakes his head. Oh, hiya. Yeah, I suppose. I'm sorry, Hiroyuki. I guess I'm just running out of options. He forces a smile and flashes me a thumbs up, making me instantly think of Kunosuke. I hang my head shamefully. Hey, don't worry so much about it. Besides, I'm sure you have things to do. Please don't let me keep you. We walk back out of the hall and into the main shop. Is everything alright? Kuya's dad immediately questions us as we return. Mr. Kuri simply nods and returns behind the counter. Yeah, no problem. Mr. Nishimura here had dropped off something for me to fix and I wanted to find out more about it. The darker canine raises an eyebrow as my name is said, almost as if remembering. However, he simply nods and taps his finger on the counter. I see. Well, if you are busy. Suddenly give a nervous chuckle and rub at my shoulder in embarrassment. No, it's fine. Mr. Kuri also asked if I wanted to hang out with Konosuke, but I have to run errands for my grandparents. I give a respectful bow before rushing out of the store. Although the rain seems to have eased, I'm not taking any chances. I open the umbrella I have in my backpack and begin my walk to the library. Is this a scene that I love? Are we finally going to see the scene that I love? The scene that I love! As I walk, I can't help but feel bad for Mr. Kuri. I know he just wants to find out what Konosuke is doing, but... I can't just snoop around his room. It wouldn't be right. I think it's a scene that I love. I ring out my umbrella before walking inside. Yay! Ever since I read this scene for the first time, I kept thinking, I want to read this out loud. I am so excited for this. This is my favorite scene. I ring out my umbrella before walking inside. So no making him scream. Aw, I can't make him scream masturbation. That's sad. So here I am at the library. The room is cooled by the wonders of modern society. It welcomes me as though I've been blessed. Wait. Saves exist. Save files exist. Welcomes me as though I've been blessed. I cheerfully make my way into the building. Hiroyuki, I'm surprised to see you in a place like this. A voice calls my name from behind me, making me cry out in surprise. Oops. Everybody around me is staring now. Well, that's what you get for yelling in a library. Exactly. Sorry. Quietly apologize to everyone. I turn around to face the person who startled me. I didn't mean to scare you. You're supposed to be quiet in the library. Weren't you taught that in elementary school? Yeah, but... Then try demonstrating your knowledge. I give Shun the most annoyed look I can muster. That was a joke. Kind of rude of you to say after nearly scaring me to death. That's not what I meant. Oh, I thought I recognized that scream. Is that? You're here too, Juuichi? What's wrong? Is Shun giving you a hard time? Whatever. He suddenly turns away. He must have hit a sore spot. Silence. This is pretty awkward. So, what brings you to the library on such a rainy day? Shun perks up at the question and presents the book he was carrying in his hands. I came to borrow this book. good! Looks like he wasn't that mad. What's this? Try to read the title on the old-fashioned hardcover, but it's obviously written in a language I don't understand. I flip through the pages, but it's impossible for me to decipher. It's in French. That's weird. What is Shun doing with the book written in French? French? Oui. I don't know how to pronounce that. I only know how to pronounce oui. And even then, I'm pretty sure I butchered that. I don't know how to pronounce that, so we're gonna use...
Self-voicing enabled. Shin, we, say just, August 10th. Self-voicing disabled.
Say used. Or juiced. Used. We. Say used. His expression softens a little. Were those words of confirmation? This places foreign language books. Too. I read French regularly to keep my skills up. I'd like to have a conversation in French sometime, but Mr. Amaki doesn't speak it. It's a bit of a problem since the only one I know who speaks it is my mom. That's right, Shin's mom is from France, isn't she? Unlike English, I rarely encounter French. Guess you have to go out of your way to stay at Shin's level. I used to think it was amazing he could speak French, and now I see how much work he puts into it. Anyway, enough about me. Why did you come to the library, Hiroyuki? You're not much of a reader, are you? He's not holding back today. Or is this another joke? I'm actually very delicate and pure. It makes me cry when you say things like that. He glares at me. Guess it wasn't a joke this time. Little backup would be nice, Juuichi. I clear my throat as a means to force myself into continuing. I'm trying to study English a bit before school resumes. It was too loud at home, I couldn't concentrate. That's a surprisingly productive use of your time, Hiroyuki. Thanks. I don't get you sometimes, Shin. Are you taking a book out too, Juuichi? Yes, I am. A new book in the Soft and Fair Goes Far series is out. Wait, what? Soft and Fair Goes Far. You can get porn at the library. Juuichi lightly punches my shoulder. Ow! I'm just joking around, Juuichi. Torihiko gets this every day, and he takes it like it's nothing. Sometimes I wonder if he enjoys getting pounded on too much. Juuichi glares at me, looking like he wants to say something, but I quickly change the subject. By the way, Shin, do you play any sports? Me? What kind of question is that? Yeah, I figure there has to be something physical you like to do, right? He looks confused. Of course he would be with his asthma and all. Sorry for using you like this, Shin. I'll treat you to something nice later. I'm not particularly into sports. Though, I'd like to try one someday. What would you recommend? Huh? Recommend? Crap, I didn't expect him to play along with this. Whatever you pick, you're probably gonna need strength. Oh boy, this is a sticky situation. Oh shit, is this the choice? Oh, this is the choice. Okay, we're gonna make a save. And we're gonna do the tormenting. We're gonna do the tormenting Juuichi first. We're tormenting Juuichi first. Is to torment. Alright, we're doing the torment first. This won't end well. It's better to dodge the question. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. You're moving your hand every day, aren't you? Yeah. I make a circle with my thumb and index finger, then flick my wrist a few times. What? My crazy talk makes him roll his eyes. I'm pushing the envelope here. I have to do it, though. You know, your hand. Ahem. Well, I certainly do move it. Yeah, and your wrist gets tired when you finish, right? Yes. It gets really tiring if you do it multiple times a day. That's why it's an unexpected form of exercise. I guess you have a point there. Was that too ridiculous to refute even for Shin? I'm glad he's seeing the humor in it. Looks like I successfully evaded... Hey, Nishimura. Yes! Seems I'm not quite out of this yet. After staying silent for a bit, Juuichi rejoins the conversation. Huh? Why is his face so red? It's not weird doing it that much. Is it? What? People don't usually talk about it in public. What the heck is he talking about? I didn't think it was that odd. I give him a confused look. His face turns even more red. He whispers something, but I'm barely able to hear it. Mass. Well, we shouldn't talk about it in a place like this. Mass? What's mass? I missed most of what he whispered. He looks like he's gonna cry. Wow, that's a rare expression for him. You know. Mass. Come on, speak up, I can't hear you. It's like every one of my words is a death sentence to him. Mass. Mass? We weren't talking about physics, Juuichi. I'm sure I heard the sound of something snap. Masturbation is something healthy young men do every day. I fucking love that scene. This is my favorite scene. Everyone in the library stops to look at Juuichi. He clamps his mouth shut, but it's too late. All eyes are on him. Shun and I were talking about riding Juuichi. Shun sheepishly nods. Huh? He stands frozen in place, mouth agape. Your whole arm can get tired from holding a pencil too long, right? Your head too, if you're looking down on what you're writing, although I certainly don't mind holding Juichi's pencil. Wait, what? Some days I study for hours at a time. But that motion you're making with your hand... What, this one? Make the same hand gesture I did earlier in the conversation. That was supposed to be writing. Pay careful attention to the motion this time. Oh. From Shun's angle, it looked like writing, but from Juichi's angle... Sorry, Juuichi. Not gonna lie, I feel super embarrassed for him right now. Shun doesn't say anything from a mix of shock, sympathy, and disappointment. Look Shun gives Juuichi says everything you can't, though. It's the look you get when someone thinks you're an unwashed mongrel. My condolences. And Shun delivers a final blow with his trademark bluntness. And, okay, now we're gonna... Oh, wait. Shit. I steel myself and decide to give a safe answer. Tennis would be a good fit for you, wouldn't it? Tennis? That's right, it's not like soccer where you're running around all the time, so I think it'd suit you. Can't believe how convincingly I can lie with my back against the wall. Tennis is still an active sport, though. I quickly close Juichi's mouth while he speaks. Tries to say more, but his voice is too muffled to be heard. Shun has his hand on his chin. He appears to be deep in thought. I think you'd look good in tennis gear, too. A pure white polo shirt and large shorts, those would go great with his black fur. Sorry, but tennis is out of the question. Furthermore, you could sneak a peek of his underwear up his shorts. The demand for this must be through the roof. Wait, did he just say it's out of the question? What do you mean? You know I can't do long periods of exercise. Drat, I was actually getting my hopes up there. Remember, I moved to Minasato for medical purposes. I'm alright now, but I don't think it's a good idea to risk it. I hang my head in defeat. That image of Shun in a tennis outfit slowly fades from view. You can try talking to Takahara about it, Shun. That's actually a great idea. I'll have to do that. Now, if you'll excuse me. Later. Bye, Shun. With the weird book in his hands, Shun leaves the library. Would you like to go somewhere to relax? Once again, I am reminded of the dream I had about Juuichi. He said those exact same words in my dream before things got steamy. Forcing it out of my mind, I nod and give him a smile. That sounds nice. Follow me. There's a nice quiet spot in the back of the library you can study in. I can't wait to start reading the new Soft and Fair Goes Far. You're gonna have to tell me what the big deal is with that thing. I'm dangerously close to being interested in it. Eh? As we arrive at our destination, I sit down and pull my books out of my backpack. However, try as I might, I still can't concentrate, choosing instead to covertly watch Juuichi read. To be completely honest, I'm actually starting to enjoy the rain. It's nice. When it's not pouring down! I suppose I can take the long way. To kill some time while I wait for the fan to be fixed. Mr. Kuri mentioned it would be ready this evening. Then again, I really should try to get these errands done. Take the long path or I can't ignore my errands. Can't ignore our errands for Aaron Yeager. Na 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 na. Let's be nice to Grandma. Sighing, I shake my head. As much as I want to take it easy, I can't. Sure. Please, oh magical developer, give us your magical wisdom of magic. Magicalness. What do you mean it just skips the scene? Oh, well, it doesn't matter, so we're just gonna keep doing this. Sighing, I shake my head. As much as I want to take it easy, I can't. Promised my grandparents that I'd do these errands for them. As I reach into my pocket and pull out the list Grandma gave me, I make my way towards my first destination. But if we want some good lore, do we want to be nice to our grandparents, like, right now, or lore? Because I'm chill with either, however, I'd much rather get to more Juuichi sooner. You know, I'm, like, trying to, like, get something right now. And it's pissing... I'll just grab the other one. Alright, I guess we're doing lore. With a smile, I swish my tail to the side as I make my decision. I suppose it couldn't hurt to just walk around for a while. I stretch slightly before making my way to the old road. I give a happy sigh as I listen to the relaxing sounds of raindrops falling onto my umbrella. If I'm not careful, I could fall asleep. Shaking my head in amusement, I continue to walk down the old road, only coming to stop as I see two familiar figures approaching. Eyes widening in recognition, I wave at them with my free hand. Kyoji, Soutarou! My two friends come to a stop in front of me and give an acknowledging nod. Oh, hi, Mr. Nishimura. Hi, hero. I can't help but wonder what they're doing out in the rain. After an uncomfortable silence, I clear my throat. So, what are you both doing? Kyoji glances at Soutarou for a moment, then back to me. Well, we often like to go for a jog to keep in peak shape. Today's no different, aside from the weather. Suddenly, realization dawns, leaving me gaping at the two soccer players. They're jogging. In the rain? But you do know it's raining, right? Kyoji chuckles at me and flashes me a grin. Can't quite tell, but I think he just winked at me. Of course, it's a perfect amount, too. Yeah, and it's a good break from the heat. Indeed, it's normally too hot to train for long periods of time, but this... Almost as if on cue, there is a lazy rumble of thunder in the distance. This is a blessing. Ice cream would be amazing. Although I'm a bit surprised. I find myself agreeing with him. Mr. Nishimura, did you maybe want to train with us today? I blink, turning to the lion upon hearing his invitation. Does he seriously want me to go for a run in the rain? Kyoji smiles a little wider and claps his hands together. That's a great idea, Taro. Take a step back and cling onto my umbrella tightly before curling my tail defensively around myself. But... Taro, do you think you could remind me of our old practice motto? As Kyoji interrupts me, Soutarou smiles excitedly and nods. A lap ran now is a lap our opponent didn't run. But my fur's gonna get all wet. After another awkward silence, I finally give a pitiful response. Kyoji chuckles at my answer, and this time I'm certain he's winking at me. It's no different than showering with the team. Well, except for being much more efficient, I'd say. Showering with the team. I feel my face warm up, so I stare down at the ground for a moment to compose myself. After a few minutes, I sigh and stare back up at him before forcing a smile. Okay. Despite my reservations, I do feel a sense of happiness at being asked to join them. With a giggle, I close my umbrella and put it in my backpack before joining my friends. Yeah, it's been at least 15 minutes and I can barely make out their breathing. Is it even possible for them to get tired at this point? How are you doing back there, hero? Do you need to stop for a moment? I shake my head as I continue jogging. Are you kidding? I could do this all day. That's a spirit. Thankfully, he bought my bold-faced lie, falling quiet again as he refocuses on his breathing. His breaths are calm and even, just like Soutarou beside me. The more I watch him, the more I'm unable to resist focusing on his back. And his rear! He's not like the guys from those videos I watch in the privacy of my room back in Osaka, but his taut, lean muscles seem so much more intoxicating now that I'm seeing them highlighted by the rain. I don't know the right word to describe it, but I'm mesmerized by the expansion and contraction of his muzzles. Damn it! Muzzles! The muscles! With a quiet sigh, I peek over at Soutarou next to me. He holds his head high and a small smile colors the corners of his lips. Almost if in slow motion, I notice a raindrop catch onto one of his whiskers, gently bending it as it travels down before dropping away. His frame, though smaller than Kyoji's, looks just as chiseled, even through his jersey. Mr. Nishimura? I blink, my face warming up. He totally caught me staring at him. Sorry, I was just thinking. I should probably trim my fur a bit. I'm not being entirely dishonest. The rain isn't exactly making my run easy, especially with how thick it's grown. I can barely fit a comb through it right now. Oh yeah, I wish I'd got my mane trimmed last week. It's uncomfortable when it's wet like this. I shake my head, inwardly admiring how it looks. Nah, it looks good. Told you. Kyoji whirls around, his body still moving just as smooth in reverse. He flashes a thumbs up onto the lion. You know, you really ought to try dating next semester. Soutarou chuckles, but I'm able to notice the nervous waver at the end. Raising my eyebrow, I'll turn my attention back to him. Who could have even thought that an up-and-coming soccer star would have confidence issues when it comes to dating? Though we're getting close to my house, if it's alright, I might need to stop for today and take care of my chores. No problem, it was a good run. Kyoji suddenly peeks over his shoulder to me at me as he points to an approaching driveway. See anything familiar? Crane my neck to the side, following his index finger pointing at the crushed gravel driveway. All at once I recognize the street we're on, regardless of the different placement of vehicles and occasional reshingling rooftop. This is my street. The street where Torihiko Kunosuke and I met almost every day of my childhood. I'm awestruck as I stare at the house I used to live in. Seems like the dirty old roof was fixed up and the house repainted, blending well with the seemingly fresh, dark lacquer finish of the wood. Ugh, who am I kidding? I barely recognize my old house now. It looks so different now. It actually looks nicer. You used to live in our house, Mr. Nishimura? I nod silently before the three of us make a beeline for the driveway, taking care to avoid the puddles near the edge of the road. Alright, Taro, good work. See you tomorrow. Of course. The lion waves at us as he continues jogging towards the front steps leading up to what was once my house. Where he suddenly pauses mid-stride before glancing back over his shoulder. Did you want to come inside, Mr. Nishimura? I can get you some water, or... Soutarou trails off. I widen my eyes in surprise and turn to face Kyoji. But the dog continues to give his enigmatic smile. He clearly wants me to make the decision for myself. See, I'd start crying. I'd start crying. Alright. As much as I enjoyed hanging out with Kyoji, I can't deny the nostalgia that washes over me. With a soft chuckle, I glance over at the canine. Go ahead here, Yuki. You did pretty well by keeping up, so I think we can wrap things up for now. Be sure to stretch a little later tonight. And don't do anything I wouldn't do. He flashes the two of us a grin. I was pretty sure he winked at us. With the wave, Kyoji turns and speeds away, no doubt eager to push himself now that he no longer needed to pace himself. Mr. Nishimura? I jump as Soutarou calls out to me before turning to face him. The lion glances at me cautiously and motions me to move closer. Mom's off work today, so we gotta be quiet. I nod and step lightly onto the wooden panel at the mouth of the doorway. Remembering that as a child, my weight would always make the boards creak and groan. The lion leans down into the bushes lining the side of the house and windows. I definitely don't remember those being here when I was a kid. They would have made perfect hiding spots during hide-and-seek with Tora. Got it. Soutarou lifts up an old coffee tin, and I can just make out the faded English lettering before he tips the mouth of the tin, catching a tiny key in his hand. You really don't have much worth stealing, so... His sentence trails off as he gives a shrug, a soft pink glow covering his now embarrassed expression. Turning to the door, he inserts the key and unlocks it before turning the key to its hiding place in the bush. Very slowly, he pushes the door open with his shoulder. Ears perked for a sign that his mother was roused by the protesting door hinge. Aside from the coffee, right? Soutarou stifles a laugh into the crook of his elbow, lowers his voice to an even softer whisper as he creeps into the dimly lit hallway. Well, to Mom, that stuff is worth more than gold. She's always buying weird brands, too. Close the door behind me and step out of my shoes. Flashbacks of Tora and I charging through this very same door color the edges of my mind. But they're washed clean by the scent of cinnamon candles and unfamiliar shelves filled with aged paperback books where a telephone once resided. Lion steps down on the back of his sneakers and slips them off before pressing himself against the wall. I better get us a couple of towels. Oh, and do you mind staying in the living room for a sec? I want to shut Mom's door. Just in case we're too loud. I nod and clasp my hands behind my back, watching as Soutarou sneaks down the hall that once led to my parents' old room. I don't remember much about it, other than it was always a mess with Dad's paperwork scattered about. Needless to say, I was never allowed to play in there. As I make my way into the living room, it dawns on me that my old house was tiny, but I guess I just never noticed as a kid, since I was also quite small. The television set pressed against the wall bears an almost shocking resemblance to the one I used to watch the Phoenix Rangers on after school. A slight wave of sadness suddenly passes over me. No doubt this was all the Tono family could afford. The white leather couch my mother treasured is now replaced with an old, worn, mossy green one that I suspect also folds out into a bed. I suppose Soutarou was putting it lightly when he said they had nothing worth stealing. Still, I'm finding the urge to ask him if we can have a sleepover here to be unbearable. Almost as if the living room was remodeled specifically for huddling together over popcorn and scary movies. Along the wall leading back into the hallway, there rest several family photos. One shows an elderly lioness sitting at a piano, her glasses falling down her nose as she concentrates on forming her chords. Another depicts Soutarou with a much shorter mane, standing shoulder to shoulder with unfamiliar kids in soccer jerseys. Maybe it's a school soccer team for Tokyo? One last photo next to the light switch catches my eye. Faded photo shows a shirtless young lion, fast asleep on the very same couch I'm standing next to. On his chest, a tiny cub sleeps peacefully, a blanket with cartoon elephants swaddling its form. The lion's mane is particularly obscured by a battered old baseball cap pulled down over his eyes. One hand rests on the baby's back to keep it from falling. This must be... Psst. I'm interrupted as Soutarou catches my attention, beckoning me towards him. The coast is clear when I come to my room. I smile at the lion and quickly walk to his side. Yeah, that sounds fun. On the way to his room, Soutarou hands me a towel, allowing me to dry myself. I decided not to mention the picture I just saw. It's probably for the best to let him tell me more about his father when he's good and ready. Dude, this room is way cooler now than when I lived in it. My toy box stuffed full of plastic Saturday morning treasures might be missing, but in its place is an old bookshelf practically bulging with the weight of various manga. Each shelf seems themed to a specific genre, and I've got my eye on the one that looks the most like the horror section. Nah, I really need to get a summer job so I can finally get a game system in here. Flick my tail behind me and glance over at him, giving a shrug. Well, maybe, but just look at all these manga. Where'd you get them all? The smile on the lion's face suddenly falters for a moment, his eyes darting away from mine. My dad used to get me one a week after I started elementary school. He wanted to help me to learn to read faster. Bring my hands away from the shelf that I had been picking through, feeling suddenly out of place. With a deep breath, I ask a question that seems most appropriate. Did it work? Thankfully, the smile returns to his face, and this time I see a flash of teeth. Well, he just ended up reading the whole thing to me. Dad got into him just as much as I did. I step carefully over the gachapon figurine strewn across the carpet serving as our battlefield, and sit down next to Soutarou on his bed. Sounds like he was a really cool dad. Yeah. I widen my eyes and rub the back of my head in shame. Did I seriously just say was instead of is? Well, your mom is really nice too. The lion cracks a grin, seeming to understand that I was attempting to save the mood. Maybe I could talk her into letting you join us for breakfast? If you don't have anything else planned, I mean. The blush on his face brings a warm smile to my face, and I rub the back of my neck. You don't have to. Sound of the doorbell startles the both of us and brings a wince to Soutarou's face. That probably woke Mom up. As we hear shuffling noises moving down the hall, the lion and I slowly stand up and peek into the hallway. Yes, can I help ya? Mrs. Tono, I'm Ryoto Kiriyama, and I represent someone I'm sure you're acquainted with. I was hoping to be able to reach out one more time about your debt. But I already spoke to somebody last week. I set up a payment plan. Well, that isn't the information I was given. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I really must insist that we resolve this as soon as possible. Otherwise, there may be trouble. Please, give me a little more time. Fine. I'll speak with the boss to confirm the details of the payment plan. We'll keep in touch, Mrs. Tono. Until then, have a good day. Soutarou hasn't said a word since the debt collector announced himself, and even in spite of the last few moments of silence, his ears haven't relaxed. What exactly does Mrs. Tono owe money for? Just I'm about to ask if I may have misheard things. I hear soft sobs coming from the living room, and a sound akin to weight collapsing onto the sofa. After a few sniffles, the sobs come again, louder. Is there anything I can do? Lion scratches awkwardly under his nose and looks at me slowly. I'm sorry, can we do this some other time? Finally, Soutarou's ears drop, his eyes locking onto mine for a second before he looks away. You can see the desperation in his eyes. Shame too, but mostly desperation for me not to hear this. To not see his family right now. With a slow nod, I smooth down the oddly dried patches of fur on my chest and stomach, suddenly horribly conscious of how I must look before following the lion into the hall. Match steps with him evenly so Mrs. Tono won't hear. As we reach the door, I lean down and pick up my shoes instead of attempting to put them on. Soutarou opens the front door just enough for me to make a soundless escape, and waits with his face cast down at the floor. It's okay. I whisper those words to him softly, but I don't get much more than a nod in response. To be honest, I'm not sure how much faith I have in my own words. Sucking in my stomach, I slide past the lion and back into the rain. It's picked up a little more now, and the fur on my head immediately begins to direct water into my eyes. As I debate on whether or not to say anything else, I hear a soft sigh coming from behind me. I'm sorry, Mr. Nishimura. I'll make today up to you, I promise. His head remains lowered, but his eyes have trailed up to mine. Hey, I had fun, Soutarou. I'd love to do it again. And once I hear my voice crack, I definitely don't want to be a burden on him and his mom. Oh, Grandma makes some snacks for us too. What do you say? After fidgeting with his nose for a moment, the lion gives me a small smile and a nod. And then with a step backward, he disappears into the shadow of the doorway. Once a lock clicks into place, all I can hear is the rain. Yeah. What is it? I usually love how calming the rain is, but right now, all I can think about is the shame in those eyes and the soft wails of a mother trying and failing. What can I do? What can I do? Unfortunately, Hiroyuki, I don't think you can do much. Thankfully, the weather seems to have cleared up a bit. It's still drizzling, but that's much better than the downpour from earlier today. For what I witnessed today at Soutarou's house, I'm surprised I was able to get my chores done. I'm on my way back to Konosuke's house to see if the fan has been fixed. I hope so. As around the bend, my mind returns to this morning's mishap, causing me to stop in my tracks. Damn it, what's wrong with me? This dream just won't leave me alone. I need to think of something else. Anything at all would... Hey, hero. Crowd in surprise, almost dropping my umbrella. Turning to face the source of the sound, I immediately relax. Shun stands before me, holding an umbrella. A wide grin is on his face. I didn't mean to startle you. Don't worry about it, Shun. I was in my own little world. The wolf's grin widens and he shakes his head in amusement. That's like your default mode, hero.
I've been following you for a while now. I saw you having almost a full conversation with yourself.
I curl my tail around myself in embarrassment. Hey, I'll have you know that talking to oneself is a healthy coping mechanism. I cringe inwardly at my defensiveness, but Shun merely chuckles and gives me a bright smile.
You're making Osaka sound like a scary place to grow up.
Shut up. I give him a half-hearted glare and uncurl my tail. Composing myself, I gently nudge his shoulder, which brings another chuckle from the wolf. So where are you going to, Shun? He smiles wider and wags his tail. Tail still wagging, walks past me, not realizing his tail whips at my thigh.
I'm on my way to Totsuki's place. I need to see his parents for something.
Almost winces as my mind replays old memories. Just remember how awesome Mrs. Midoriya was, but as for Mr. Midoriya, he was always such a grouch. Well, just be careful, okay? You don't want to catch Mr. Midoriya in a bad mood. Smile fades from Shun's face, an uncomfortable expression replacing it.
Can't be any worse than the harness I had to deal with this morning.
Mumbling under his breath, he slowly walks away with a few steps, leaving me to take in what he said. I decided to change the subject, moving closer to the wolf. So what do you need to speak with Totsuki's parents about? He breathes a heavy sigh and glances down the road.
Well, I'm really just going to check up on a few things. You know the Bond Festival is soon, right?
Oh yeah, I almost completely forgot about the local festival. Every year the town would gather near the shrine, set up food stands, games, and a big fireworks show. Well, big for Minasato anyway. And if I'm not mistaken, organization duties have always been split between the Kodori family, Midoriya family, the Midoriya family, and the mayor. No, I should have brought my yukata. I completely forgot about the Bond Festival. Your dad's still leading the harvest dance, right?
Ugh.
Shun grunts, letting his eyes roll upward before answering me.
Not anymore.
Blinking in confusion, I tilt my head to one side. No, what changed? With a heavy sigh, Shun directs his gaze back to me.
I'm in charge of it now. As well as next year.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? You'll get to be a big shot in the town now. The beginnings of a smile appearing on his face, the wolf nods slightly.
Don't get me wrong, I'd be proud to lead the harvest dance. If only Dad would get off my case.
He arches his shoulders back and puffs out his cheeks, doing a decent imitation of the Kodori elder.
You're doing the movements all wrong! Speak with your chest out broad! Stop moving your tail so much!
Puffing out the stored air from his stomach, he turns to face me with a pained expression.
He's seriously trying to get Mrs. Midoriya to put a shoulder padding in my robes.
My eyes widen and I can't help but laugh. Wait, what?
I'm serious! He said it looked like a girl in my normal yukata.
Shaking his head, the wolf curls his lips in disgust.
All of a sudden he wants me to look like an action figure or something. It's so degrading!
I shuffle nervously and rub the back of my head. I didn't realize you needed to look like a heavyweight champion in order to get the Shrine God's approval. Sorry to hear that, Shun. It really sucks. Trying not to sound insecure myself, but I'm not sure I'm succeeding. I don't exactly have the widest shoulders myself.
Yeah, I know.
Can't you just say no if that's how your dad's going to act? There's gotta be someone else who can handle the Bond Festival's religious ceremonies, right? Shun snakes a hand behind his head, smoothing the fur down on his neck. Never seen him do that before. It's not like him somehow.
No, not anymore.
I blink, not expecting such an answer. Huh? What's that mean?
Because of all this family drama, my cousin left town a while ago.
I nod, remember him telling me about his cousin. So there was some drama which caused him to leave. Is that why he's no longer qualified? Wolf sighs and gives a nod. With the mood being so sour, maybe I should change the subject. Well, if it matters, I think you're fine just as you are. His smile returning, Shun fiddles with the zipper on his jacket.
Thanks, hero. Anyway, I'd better go.
He starts to turn around only to hesitate. Facing me again, he takes a breath.
You're not doing anything. Did you maybe want to join me? I promise that's nothing that will get you into trouble.
Surprised, it takes me a few moments to compose myself. To be honest, it would be a nice distraction, but then again, it has been a very busy day today. No. I'm tired. Nah, not right now, Shun. I'm sorry. As much as I enjoy spending time with Shun, today has just drained me. Give him a pained smile and shake my head slowly. Sorry, Shun, today's been a really long day. Still need to go to Konosuke's and see if my grandmother's fan has been fixed. Once again, the smile fades from his face and his tail droops.
Oh, sorry, hero.
I shake my head, my own tail feeling a bit droopy. It's okay, Shun. Rain check? Wolf glances back at me and nods. and the beginnings of a smile returning to his face. With a wave, he turns and makes his way up the old road toward Tatsuki's house. Truth be told, I do feel a little guilty. Maybe I should have gone with him. After a moment of thought, I sigh and shake my head. As I walk to my destination, I can't help but think about what would have happened if I'd gone with Shun. Oh, well, I can't really do anything about that now. Another busy day in Minasato has come to an end. I breathe a tired sigh as I flick through the channels on my small television. Oh, this game show looks interesting. The audience cheers as one of the contestants tries to clobber the other with an oversized rolling pin. This is the kind of silly thing I would watch when I was younger, especially if Phoenix Rangers wasn't on. I yawn heavily, resting my head on my pillow while trying to see the screen. Grin crosses my face as the unfortunate contestant is caught, rolling pin bonking him on the head. I hope it's not made out of wood, otherwise that would definitely cause some serious injury. What is it with game shows and tasks like that? It seems rather mean-spirited. Then again, all the contestants seem like they're having fun regardless of the outcome. Go, go, Power Rangers! Ugh, why am I thinking about that so much? Pressing a button on the remote, I change the channel. Once again, there seems to be a documentary. The white tiger lady I saw on the news the other day is conducting an interview with someone. That strange sense of familiarity washes over me again. I can't shake the feeling I've seen her outside of her news career. I give another yawn, and paired with my heavy eyelids, I take it as a sign that I should go to sleep. I press the power button on the remote, turning off the television and sending the room into darkness. Getting comfortable, I let my eyes slowly close as sleep overtakes me. We're gonna leave off here tonight. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.